So this video is for lubricating your suspension link pivots. So what I just did was I just cracked loose everything while it's still on the side stand, and then I'll prop it up on a stand, and then I'll get to taking everything apart, starting from the rear wheel, take it off the chain and sprocket, and getting to these link pivots right here. So loosen this guy, and I loosened these two right here, which I believe is a 14 millimeter. Kind of had a swivel attachment to access it. And then there's some guards right here, and there's a little clip that keeps the bottom end of it secured on. So I basically just loosened these two bolts and popped it out from each side. And if you come on this back side, I did the same on this side as well. And then I cracked loose this nut as well, and we're on our way. So this is a little update. Right now we'll be loosening this, and then I'll bang the rod out. All of these are 14 millimeters, so I have a socket on this side and a wrench on these sides. These are all 14 millimeters, so I have those all loosened up. And then made the mistake of loosening this one. Not necessary, but this one right here is a 17 millimeter, this nut right here, and I believe that one has to be loosened. So I'm just pulling out this rod, and I'm not sure if you guys can tell, but there is still some lubrication on it. A very thin layer, but there's still some lube on it. Let's put that there. And I believe I have about almost 18,000 miles on here. Let's see. Yep. And they say in the manual to do this every 12,000 miles is to lubricate the suspension link pivots. So this rod was okay. Let's see what the link pivots look like. All right, so here it is. Once you pull that rod out and you take out the three 14 millimeter bolts right here, then this basically just slides out, and then it takes a little bit of wiggling, but yeah, you just pull this guy out. Make sure you're unhooking the brake line where it attaches here. There's a bracket that attaches here and right here. And I'll show you guys. That's the bracket that's down low, and that's the part that attaches right here. So yeah, I'm gonna get this all cleaned up. I'm gonna inspect the bushings and the bearings and whatnot. I heard some scuffing right here is normal. There is like this moving washer mechanism that I'll show in a second. But these little black parts, it's okay if you see a little bit of slight scuffing. But yeah, they do look like they need to be lubricated. As I push this, kind of sticks a little bit. So I think it was just about perfect timing in getting this all lubricated. Let's see. Yeah, so here's the little mechanism. That's what connects to this lower part. Alright, so I got around to cleaning these. This rod comes out. I'm going to leave it in because I just cleaned and lubricated it. And I noticed this side was kind of rusty, as you can kind of see on the outer edges right here. And this is the little part that goes on it. So this bushing and metal part was pretty rusty. I cleaned it out compared to this one right here, which actually had still a little bit of lubrication. So we're getting around to cleaning this. I'll take this out and clean it, and then we'll get to the actual linkage. So I took out the little rings right here. These seem kind of dry. Definitely was due for some lubrication. But if anyone knows, let's see, let me get in the light a little bit better. Yeah, as you can kind of see, that's peeling up a bit. I can always just press it back, that's the goal. So moving on to the linkage. These all look like they're in good condition.
These definitely were due for some lubrication. But yeah, looking at this definitely looks like this could be replaced. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. So I ended up just packing this heavy with grease since I don't have the replacement part. But I think it should be okay for now. And then down the road, of course, I'll replace it. So this is one of the last parts that I'm lubricating. I popped out these little black bushings on both sides, and I lubricated those inside and out, cleaned out any grime and whatnot. This is also all lubed up. I'm going to lube the inside where the bolt slides through as well. I did have to remove this foot peg in order to slide the bolt out of here because there just wasn't enough room. These are pretty tough to get out. Let me see what millimeter that is. That is, let's see, 8? I don't know. Alright, so I'm in the process of assembling everything back. So right here, this is the nut with the washer. All the nuts go on the left side and the bolts on the right side. And then I just have to put this guy in. It's best to remove these foot pegs, so these two bolts down here on both sides, just so you can squeeze the swing arm in on this side. That's pretty much it. These are the torque specs. I recommend stopping the video and screenshotting. So this is for the rear shock assembly. And then if we flip to the swing arm, here's all the torque specs as well. So I got everything assembled. Everything's working great, feels great. And the reason why I lubricated the suspension link pivots, obviously since the manual said so, at 12,000 miles, I was a bit overdue. I noticed every time I sat over the bike, there was this squeakiness about it. So I knew something was drying up and needed lubrication, so I thought, hell, why not? And it feels a lot smoother, I gotta say, even over the bumps and whatnot. Just feels more fluid, it just feels faster. I love it. Something very therapeutic about just working on your bike, having the peace of mind that it's, that it's looked after and everything is working properly and functioning optimally. So if you have any questions or concerns, leave them in the comments below. I'll be happy to help.